Considering everything happening in the franchise right now, Abby has the perfect opportunity to come back to NCIS, so I am so disappointed to learn about Pauley Perrette's latest announcement. It has been 6 years since Leroy Jethro Gibbs' original team member from JAG left the procedural. By then, there had already been several character departures in the series, so it shouldn't be that difficult to deal with her loss. Still, I think that Abby has the most devastating exit in NCIS, not because of what happened on the screen, but because of what went down behind the scenes. All members of Gibbs' MCRT team brought something different to the table, which made them effective. That said, it would have been difficult for them to do their job without Abby. While I wish that they dug deeper into her importance, the show properly established how much Gibbs and the rest needed him. Currently, Alden Parker's NCIS Season 22 roster has Casey Hines. She's great, but I continue to dream of Abby eventually reconnecting with her old co-workers. I have been hoping that she would finally return in the next couple of years, until I learned of Perrette's career update. Pauley Perrette's complicated NCIS exit explained. Perrette left NCIS after having issues with Harmon. Abby smiles looking at Gibbs in her NCIS lab. Suffice it to say, the story of Perrette's exit from NCIS is a complicated one. Despite co-starring in the procedural for over a decade and even sharing countless scenes together as Gibbs and Abby, things between the actors turned sour in the final couple of years when Perrette was on the show. As someone who adored their character's father and daughter dynamic, this was such a massive shock, considering the pair's chemistry on screen. Perrette claimed that Harmon terrified her after having a bad encounter with his dog. The conflict continued for a while, with the production of NCIS having to be more creative when filming scenes that involved both Abby and Gibbs. Supposedly, the issue was already resolved. However, that didn't stop Perrette from walking away. In her last comment about the matter in 2019, Perrette maintained her stance about her exit. She added that she would never be coming back to NCIS because she never wanted to work with Harmon. In 2024, CBS executives were asked anew about the possibility of bringing the actor back, and they said that they are open to bringing her back. Between this and Perrette's recent sighting with his former co-star Brian Dietzen, I thought that it was just a matter of time before Abby to return in NCIS. Further fueling my hopes was how the franchise has been evolving and the direction of its storytelling moving forward. Why it's the perfect time for Abby to return in the NCIS franchise. The path for Abby's NCIS return is clearer than ever. Abby looking pensive in NCIS keep going. Ultimately, there isn't a shortage of reasons to bring Abby back to NCIS. I argue that if Perrette agrees to return, the producers can easily come up with a reason for her character to pop back up in Navy Yard. There are so many viable storylines that could draw her back to Washington, D.C. or even just reunite with her former co-workers. Director Leon Vance can recruit her for an important mission, or Abby can reach out for help with a personal dilemma. All of these can now be done because Harmon has already exited NCIS in Season 19. Beyond that, Perrette also has the option to return to the franchise via Michael Weatherly and Cote de Pablo's NCIS, Tony and Ziva. It will be separated from what's happening in the US, as it will be set across Europe. Since Abby is supposedly still based in the UK, Tony and Ziva can seek her help. Personally, I think this is the easiest way for Perrette's comeback. Beyond that, like many who loved the procedural during its earlier years, I would also be thrilled to see Abby not only learn about Ziva's status but also her current romance with Tony. Pauley Perrette's acting retirement means nothing from these stories can happen. Sadly, the timing of Perrette's retirement is bad for NCIS. All of these options for Abby's return to NCIS are great, and I would love any of them to happen. That being said, Perrette's recent announcement that she is officially retiring from acting effectively kills any chance of these narratives happening. Granted that the actor hasn't appeared in any show since CBS cancelled her post-NCIS series, Broke, but the door for her to return to the industry remained open. Now that she has definitively said that she is no longer acting, all of my hopes to see Abby again on the small screen are dashed. What makes this worse is the timing of things. I don't know if there are any conversations or plans about bringing Perrette back to NCIS. However, I wonder if there was ever a chance for Abby to return had anyone from CBS or the aforementioned shows in the procedural franchise reached out to the actor before she made her retirement announcement. As previously mentioned, it's fairly simple to reincorporate her into the NCIS franchise. It can either be a recurring gig or a one-time cameo. Regardless, it would mean that NCIS resident Goth could reunite with her former work family. How NCIS can still use Abby despite Perrette's retirement. Duck's tribute shows how NCIS can still use Abby without Perrette. Emily Wickersham as Bishop, Pauley Perrette as Abby, and Brian Dietzen as Palmer in NCIS. Ideally, I would want Perrette to actually reprise her role as Abby and physically appear in any of the aforementioned NCIS projects. However, since that's impossible now, considering her retirement, I would like the people behind the franchise to think of some creative ways how they can refer to MCRT's original forensic scientist. Ducky's tribute episode was able to get Abby involved without the actor, by featuring flowers that she supposedly sent for the funeral. With this blueprint in mind, the NCIS universe can think of more ways to make her relevant again.